Today we're going to tackle something pretty interesting and fun. We're going to look at integrating Ready Player Me into our Lyra project. Now, I looked at this probably 2 years ago, and it was too immature at that point. There wasn't enough documentation around, but now it seems to have advanced quite a bit. And this is a relatively short video. It's a pretty simple exercise to do, and you can get some fun results. So let's take a look at it. First, what is Ready Player Me? It's a service offering that allows players to create an avatar and then use that avatar across multiple games. So think of it as not just character creation for your game, but character creation for multiple games. And then you can have a consistent look and feel of your character as you transition from game to game. Now, the site that's set up to do this is currently free. They are supporting a number of different platforms, and their intent is to monetize their site. So you can head over to Ready Player Me, create an account, configure your own avatar, and they actually have a Lyra example project set up, which made it really, really easy to incorporate this example into our workflow. So that's what Ready Player Me is. Again, go ahead and check out the site and have a look at it. There's lots of good documentation there. What you'll end up with is a ability to have both a create character screen where you can define your own character by picking clothing, look and feel, the normal character creation, as well as the ability to configure sort of static characters that you basically get a URL code that you can plug into your code and have characters auto-generate based on what you set up on their site. So that's kind of the net end product. There are a few considerations that you need to think about if and when you choose to do this. One, they do not use the Epic skeleton because they're third party and they're supporting multiple platforms. They're not tied to the Mannequin skeleton. And therefore, the way you animate in Lyra is using the copy pose animations. So we're still running the Manny skeleton, but then we're copying the resulting animation over to their skeleton for visualization. They do have some different bone names, which will break a couple of the bone-specific effects, particularly particle effects, where we're looking for a particular bone name. That bone may or may not exist in their skeleton, so you may need to go through and adjust some of those effects. There is a dependency on fetching the mesh from their website. So what I found so far is two issues that I haven't been able to resolve. One is some warning messages that are popping up in my log around the JSON file format and its configuration of that, as well as intermittently, as you see to the far right, the incorrect texture would get applied. Now, this appears to only happen in editor. I haven't had it occur yet in a running game, but it seems to be just a little glitch that need to work out. Whereas the texture, the mesh gets loaded properly, as you can see, but the texture does not switch over. And then the other thing you need to really think about is this does introduce some dependencies in your game. So if you're planning to develop over a period of a year plus, maybe 2 years, you're dependent on Ready Player Me basically monetizing their site and staying in business. Should they go down for technical reasons, you're not going to be able to generate characters or run your character creation process. And so you might have to unwind this if the site fails to monetize. So those are the big considerations you need to think about. One's a performance issue. 2 is a few little bugs and fixes that need to be worked out. And then 3 is the sort of the long-term dependency on a third party that is live and running in your game, as opposed to a marketplace asset where you download it and you have the actual code. You are dependent upon their website. So the link at the bottom is to their guide. Again, you can Google it. It's very easy to find. And it was a lot of fun to incorporate. So let's jump over, have a look at it in game, and then we'll come back and look at the workflow of setting it up in our existing project. All right, so we're in game and we've added this new select character menu item that when you click on it, you will see that these characters were loaded from the Ready Player Me website. These three are set to a static address. This is your cell for creating. So when I click on the create, it will launch this web browser where you can create new avatars or edit existing avatars. So if I wanted to edit this particular avatar here, you can see that I can now basically make adjustments to hairstyles, clothing, etc. So we'll change his hair to be a bit more slick back. That looks good. We'll change. Let's go with that outfit and then save those changes. And you'll see this will refresh to the new outfit. And if we play now, and let's turn bots off. Let's go into one of ours. You'll see that the character spawns in with the selected custom character and the selected outfit. If I press F8, looks pretty good. If I go and select weapon, hand placement looks pretty good. And the character seems to navigate the environment fairly well. All right, so let's go look at how we go ahead and do that to migrate over into our project. All right, so the basic workflow I used to get it moved over is first I downloaded the sample project. So you can go on to that link, download a separate copy of the Lyra sample project from Ready Player Me. Then, of course, make a backup of your project so that if anything were to go wrong, you can always come back to your project. The next thing to do is copy over the two plugin folders and then restart your editor to make sure those two plugins activated appropriately. And then there are two content folders that you can basically copy over using your file manager, be that Windows Explorer or others. I didn't use migrate or anything in the editor. I found it better to just copy those files over from these two content folders. And then you have to go in and hook up the menu. And so let's talk about that for a little bit. So let's flip over and look at the Windows editor. So in the sample project, you'll see these two plugin folders. You can simply copy those, paste them into your plugin folders, and then make sure that you start up your editor and enable those plugins if they're not already enabled. That's an important step in this section before you move to actually copying the content over, or else when you copy the content, they won't find their parent classes. So make sure you do this and make sure the plugins are up and running. After the restart and checking that the plugins are running, we're going to copy these two content folders that are here at the bottom of the screen. If you just go into content, characters, you'll find this Ready Player Me folder, and you can actually copy this entire folder over. So you can just Control C, copy that, move to your content folder, move to your characters, and just paste that right over alongside yours. It's non-destructive. Everything they want is inside that one folder. And so that's an easy copy over. The other content folder is under UI and under menu experiences. Now in this one, if you go to UI menu experiences. You're going to want to copy over the custom actor. I moved it afterwards, but you copy over the custom actor. And then you only need to copy the avatar creation screen and the character selection screen. These other ones already exist in your project. Now, there is a slight coding modification to those, which we will do manually as opposed to copying these assets over, just in case you've made some changes on your end to any of these files already. So the net new ones you're going to copy over are these three, and copy them over into your content folder. I subsequently then moved them after I made sure everything was running. I moved them to their own folder. Just from a consistency perspective, I took them out of experience and created a new folder. You don't have to do that step. I just did it to keep things clear. And now the last step is to go in and actually hook up the Lyra menu to call the new UI elements that have been set up. Everything else has been done in your copying so that the actual content has been moved over. All right, so with the editor loaded and under characters, you'll see the folder that we copied over, and it will have a variety of subfolders that you copied over from the plugin. I did create the character part, which is to force the cosmetic. So let's just open that. And this is quite simple. It is a child of the controller component character parts. And when we begin, we grab the owner. We determine whether it's a player controller. If it is a player controller, it's a player. If it's not, it's a bot. And then from the bot, we just simply have these static links to the three characters that I showed on the selection screen. And we're just randomly selecting one of those to be the bot's image. If it's a character, we're going to load from the save game asset the URL that was set. So they use a save game asset to save this URL. And if it is not empty, then in other words, there is one, we set that to active. So we either set the bot to active or we set the player to active. And then we call the add character part. And we're adding that new part class right here, this BRPM, which is here under the Ready Player Me blueprints. And that basically finishes the logic of adding the Ready Player Me component, reading it and adding it to the mesh component. On the UI, so that's what enables the character to be loaded in world. You will want to change. So in my experience, I never remember exactly where this is. So in your Lyra experience definition for the various modes that you have, when you scroll down into your add components, you're going to want to change the character selector, which I believe starts with random character, to the one you have the pick, the Ready Player Me character, and that's attached to the player controller. So when you open this up in your game, you'll probably see, I think it's called Be Random Character. Yeah, Be Pick Random. You're going to replace that reference, which was picking between Manny and Quinn, and adding that to the character part. So you're going to want to replace the pick random with the Ready Player Me character so that the character selected gets loaded. On the UI front, So if you scroll down to UI, under menu, I said I moved these folders over here because they are all related to the character. And that leaves the original 9 tiles in the experience folder that you would have started with. You do need to go into first the Lyra menu. So let's go to the Lyra menu. So the Lyra front end menu, if you edit that, you're going to go ahead and copy one of these buttons to make the new button. So you're going to copy any of them to select character, scroll down, add the button base click, and simply in the button base click, you're going to push content, the W character selection screen, onto your menu layer. So you can actually just copy any of these other ones and change the widget class to that character select screen. That's what will pop up the character select screen in the UI. And in the experiences, there are 3 tiles: experience select, host session, and I think browse. So those 3 tiles, if you copied them over from the plugin, they would have been replaced with the logic. If you didn't copy them over from the plugin, like I suggested, then you need to go into these and make some small changes. So in the host session screen, in the graph, so when you come in here, it will look something like this, whereas after the spinner, you will prepare to enter the user-facing experience. We're going to insert this step where we're going to call preload avatars out of the Ready Player Me library. And that has a pin where we can create a custom event. And when that custom event is triggered, then we're going to proceed. So basically, this stuff was all straight in a line. You're going to shift it down like this. You're going to insert the preloading of the avatars, and then upon successfully preload, you're going to continue that chain. So you can do that in 3 places. You're going to do it here in the host session screen. You're going to do it on the quick. I believe it's this one. You're going to do it again here. So after a random experience is selected on the quick play line. So this is when you do a quick play. You'll preload those avatars. Upon success of that, you'll continue and prepare to enter. And then the third one, I believe it's this one. When you're browsing, yes. And so in your session browse entry, after you've selected which session you want to join, we're going to do the preload and then continue with the prepare. So basically in all 3 cases, right in front of the prepare enter user facing experience, you're going to insert your preload of your avatars. All right, so those 3 being edited, those are all the changes that were needed to be made. Now let's flip over and look at the adding assets on their websites and show you that you can configure and add a whole bunch of new content as well. And over in the Ready Player Me studio, you can configure what clothing and options you make available in your game. So they have an asset manager. I'll just run through this a bit quickly. So once you've configured your application, you can sign in to your asset manager. You can look through their catalog of assets against your game and basically add new assets. So let's add this black and white racer outfit and add that to our game. Okay, so we've added this racer outfit. We need to go into config and scroll down the list. Under female. And there's the racer outfit, and we can enable that in game. We can also go to the asset designer and either modify an existing asset to our liking, add templates, upload models, or use their AI texturing. So in this case, let's say we want this texture, but I did the Drunken Rudolph here. That's how I got the other asset. So you could AI generate an asset, which will then show up here in your asset folder. And yeah, so this was AI generated and added to the game. So I can now oh, and here down in the bottom is where you can activate it. So let's activate it for our game, and let's make it visible for people to apply. And that asset is now active. And then jumping back over into game, we can now go into our avatars, edit our female avatar, and select that new outfit that we enabled. So that's the outfit we enabled. Should change. Good. All right, so that'll bring this video to a close. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. I thought it's really cool technology. It can really help indie developers, and I personally like the idea of having a custom avatar that can be consistent from game to game. I'm always sad when I have to roll into a new game and I give up all the time and energy I put into a particular character. So give it a like, a subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what your thoughts are. Thanks for watching.